Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of Operation PlayStation. I'm one of your hosts, Dash. Along with me, a special guest co-host, it is Nick Baker from XBOXERA. How are you, Nick?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Rolling off the high of God of War Ragnarok, and pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with that.
Everyone seems to be playing Ragnarok at the moment. Every time I turn on my PS5 and check the friends list, it's literally everyone is playing Ragnarok outside of maybe one or two.
Yeah, exactly. They'd be the ones who are playing Call of Duty, yeah?
Yeah, probably.
How are you anyway? What's been happening? What's been news with XBOXERA? How's everything?
Yeah, XBOXERA is doing okay.
Yeah.
The podcast is trucking along. The site, the forum, we just launched a web app called Forge Era, where people that make maps in Halo Forge can they can post the map, you can source them, you can download links to them, and it's a really, really nice tool for Halo Forgers. Yeah. I'm not going to pretend to know exactly how it works, but it's doing pretty well because I think at the moment we're still the only ones out there that have anything like this. So yeah, it's been really good.
It's very impressive. Very impressive stuff.
Yeah, well, we just got a couple of affiliate sponsorship type deals for the show too.
Oh yeah.
So it's all doing pretty well.
Good on you. Congratulations on all the success as well from XBOXERA. I mean, it's been incredible.
Thanks.
Like even just to watch, to observe how far it's come and everything else. And how fast its popularity has risen. It's astounding, and you guys have done a marvelous job over there. So yeah, once again, congratulations on all your successes over there, man.
Yeah, thanks heaps for that, man.
Guys, if you didn't know, this is Operation PlayStation. It's a bi-weekly conversational PlayStation podcast where I dive in deep and dirty and discover what the latest and greatest of PlayStation, and also talk about the latest releases with friends sometimes as well. If you like what you hear today, make sure that you follow us over on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Make sure you leave a cheeky 5-star rating. Surely helps us out. And also catch the VOD on YouTube and dashgamer.com. On YouTube, subscribe, hit that bell, give us a like, leave us a comment. It helps us out. Nick, I do housekeeping at the beginning of the show, which pretty much is just a quick rundown of the new content that's up on the website on dashgamer.com right now. So I'll just quickly run through those. So we just did a Dark Pictures Devil in Me review, thanks to the kind folk over at Bandai Namco. Sackboy, A Big Adventure for PC, thanks to PlayStation Australia. New Tales. Oh yeah, New Tales from the Borderlands, thanks to 2K ANZ. A Plague Tale Requiem, thanks to 5-Star Games. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, thanks to Activision Blizzard. I did an end of year update, so if you guys want to check that out, it's up there right now. The Dash Gamer Awards is on December 2nd, so make sure you guys check out who we have nominated and who you would like to vote for, basically. We'll be talking about the Game Awards as well in a second, Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. And, of course, God of War Ragnarok review, thanks to the kind folk over at PlayStation Australia, who provided the review codes, respectively, on all those games. Nick, is there anything else you want to pimp that's out right now on XBOXERA?
Oh, nothing specific, man. It's with us, it's easy now. Having the website, it's very, very easy. Just head on over to xboxera.com and you can just check everything out there. You can access literally all of it. The news, the reviews, the forum, Forge Era Day 1, which is our Game Pass web app. You can access the podcast through there. We've also got a Halo podcast called You Had Me at Halo.
Yeah.
So you can get it all at xboxera.com.
Fantastic. That's awesome, dude. Nick, we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to jump into the first bit of news, which comes by way of Ryan Dinsdale over at IGN, who says the Game Awards, a 2022 nomination sees God of War Ragnarok leading with 10 award nods. Jeez, that's a lot. The article reads, Jeff Keighley...
Is that as much as Last of Us had, though?
I don't know. I think this actually might be more.
Oh, I don't know. I feel like Last of Us Part 2 had more.
But Part 2... Oh, you mean Part 2? I thought you meant Part 1.
Yeah,
I'm not-
no, sorry. Last of Us Part 2.
Two?
I feel like Last of Us Part 2 might have had more.
I might have to look that up. The article reads, though, Jeff Keighley has announced every nominee for the Game Awards 2022 with God of War Ragnarok and Elden Ring leading the way, with 10 and 7 nominations respectively. God of War Ragnarok's nominations include Game of the Year, Best Game Direction, Best Narrative, Best Art Direction, Best Score and Music, Best Audio Design, 2 in Best Performance, Best Action Adventure, and Innovation in Accessibility. Elden Ring saw a number of similar nominations, including Game of the Year, Best Game Direction, Best Narrative, Best Art Direction, Best Score, Music, Best Audio Design, and Best RPG. So you mentioned, the thing is, right, you mentioned The Last of Us Part 2 having a specific number, like could possibly be more nominations. And then we have like this year with Elden Ring pretty much... when you think about it, it's pretty much going to be it's head to head right now between Elden Ring and God of War.
Between the two of them.
Yeah, who do you think is going to take it?
I don't know. It's an interesting question. Like, I don't know.
It's a loaded one. Yeah.
I wasn't a massive fan of Elden Ring, so it's hard not to just automatically assume God of War because of my personal preference.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think the recency side of it might help God of War.
Yeah.
Because Elden Ring came out so much earlier in the year. Not that people have forgotten about Elden Ring, but like,
there's still a lot of people
God
playing
of War has hit right at the same time as basically the Game Awards are hitting. So it's all the talk at the moment.
Yeah.
So I feel like that might help it get over the line.
Yeah. I think you're correct. There's a lot of hype right now behind, obviously with God of War being such a recent release, there's more popularity behind it, more of a hype train behind it right now, more of a commercial campaign behind it. I mean, we're probably going to see 20 ads for it during the Game Awards itself.
Yeah.
It really is. I think Elden Ring will still give it a run for its money in terms of how many awards both games take away from the Game Awards. But at the end of it, I'm with you. I think that God of War might just have that edge and take it. My other question to you is, other titles within the category of Game of the Year, such as Horizon Forbidden West. Horizon Zero Dawn was nominated back in the 2017 Game Awards for Game of the Year. It actually was nominated for a few awards and didn't walk away with anything. Are we about to see that again?
Probably.
Yeah.
It's probably safe to say. Horizon, the Horizon franchise hasn't had much luck so far in terms of it always seems to drop around the same time as a bigger game.
Yeah.
So first time around it was Zelda.
Yep.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
Second time around Elden Ring. And now it looks like the VR game's going to drop before Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh my God.
So, like... I don't know what it is about that franchise, but they always seem to manage to find a way to drop it right before a massive release.
It's just
it just gets buried.
Yeah. It's just a poorly timed release, I believe. I was talking to someone within the industry about it just the other day, and he was saying, it's always just a poorly timed release from Guerrilla. And, it's sad because it's not like as if it doesn't deserve an accolade attached to it. If anything, it deserves... See, multiple games within the category this year deserve the accolade Game of the Year, and it won't necessarily Keighley's not going to hand out 2, 3 of the same award. He'll hand it out to one, and that's it. But then, like other, you have other outlets that'll give it to him. Kind of like when, what was it, Uncharted 3 when that released. I recall this because it wasn't that great. But for some reason, it had a Game of the Year release. And the excuse that they used for that was pretty much, oh, no, we got Game of the Year at this outlet. Yeah, and this outlet. And it's like, nobody recognizes, this outlet from Germany or whatever, internationally.
I feel like at this point, the Game of the Year edition, it's more an excuse to sell... It's almost like an excuse to resell the game again, just package up all the DLC and whatever. And I guess Game of the Year edition is just sort of the moniker that's caught on. Like Far Cry 6.
Yeah.
Is it Far Cry 6? Far Cry 6 just got a Game of the Year edition. And I don't think it won a Game of the Year award anywhere.
No,
So
I don't think so.
I think it's just like a branding they use now to resell a game again and have it all packaged up with its DLC and extras and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Do you think that they also like? And I'm specifically talking about the Game of the Year category here. You know, we look at it and we say, okay, I know that maybe 3 of those personally, I would tip for Game of the Year. I would like nominate it myself. Then you have games like Xenoblade Chronicles. I mean, don't get me wrong, Xenoblade Chronicles is great in its own right, but it's not a technical marvel. You have to kind of consider all these things when you're nominating games and tying them into Game of the Year. Xenoblade Chronicles is great, but it's not a technical marvel. Stray is fantastic, but it's nothing revolutionary or groundbreaking. You know, why A Plague Tale is fantastic again, but pitting it up against something as polished as a God of War or a Horizon or an Elden Ring, you're basically kind of putting in filler. And
yeah. I think part of the problem comes from the fact that the Game of the Year category, the way Jeff has set it up, it's limited the type of games that can be nominated to begin with, I feel like.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously last year's big controversy was Forza Horizon 5.
Yeah.
Not like, is that because it was a racing game? Is that because it was, like Forza Horizon 5 was polished. Forza Horizon 5 was stunning. Forza Horizon 5 was a good game to play. It was this. It ticked all the boxes, but then
Definitely.
So it's a tricky one. I know what Jeff's trying to do. He's trying to make it's the video game equivalent of the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
And just like the Academy Awards, there are certain movies that are never going to win Best Picture. The term Oscar bait has come around because everyone knows the sorts of movies that are most likely to be nominated for Game of the Year. Yeah. Now, you get your odd surprise, like when we had The Departed, and you get your more popular mainstream movies that once in a blue moon will win Best Picture, just like how we got Overwatch winning Game of the Year a few years ago.
Correct.
You get your odd surprise here and there, but in the end, everyone knows the sort of games that are more likely to win it. Like this year, it was realistically only ever going to be between Elden Ring and God of War.
Yeah.
But you have to, like you said, you do have to round it out. You do need to have more nominations. I feel like they need to be more open about other stuff that can be nominated.
Correct.
And be more open about what is the criteria? Like, is it just straight up, we're going to ask all these outlets what their nominations are and we just tally them up?
Yeah, and that's the problem. They don't divulge that publicly. It's all privy to outlets that are essentially handpicked by Jeff himself. For example, here in Australia, Survivor, Press Start, and Oz Gamers are the only 3 that are chosen pretty much like to nominate for each category. For me personally, I look at that and I go, well, okay, but I don't know. I don't think I'm sold on like outlets. I think here's what I think. It's an antiquated format right now that needs to kind of be adjusted a little bit to give other titles that are out there accolades it deserves. So for like Game of the Year and all that stuff is great to have attached to your game, and of course it's a big thing for PR. It's a big thing for commercializing and campaigning it, for commercials and everything else on TV. It's won 20 Game of the Year awards. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
But I personally think that maybe like even a top 5 games list or something like this. We've gotten to that point where there are so many great games on the market, like even on Xbox as well. And that's the thing. Like I feel like it kind of there's a lot of games that miss out because they basically have a hype train behind them before the lead up, and you hit the nail on the head with the commercializing and the recency of a release. It just kind of misses out because it came out 5 days ago and now it deserves Game of the Year. I don't agree with that.
And that also ignores the fact that it's the 2022 Game Awards, and yet we're going to have Need for Speed Unbound coming out in December. We're going to have Callisto Protocol coming out in December, and they are zero chance of 2023 awards because they're coming out in December 2022.
People forget
yet they can't get into the 2022 award.
There's no criteria for necessarily having. So the criteria, I don't even know. There's a cutoff. Like there has to be a cutoff, and there's no criteria that's again divulged.
There is.
Yeah, well, there is, but what I'm saying, there's no criteria divulged publicly for us to know where that cutoff date is. Is it on the day of the Game Awards? Is it like a month?
No. They do. I think they do give the cutoff. So I think, and that's the funny thing. So last year, people were asking about that cutoff for Forza Horizon 5, and I think the cutoff was November 5th.
Oh.
Actually, no. Sorry. No. That wasn't the cutoff. The cutoff. What was the date? Oh, God, I can't even remember. I'm pretty... now I'm getting confused.
That's all right.
Oh, no, I might be thinking of Forza Horizon's release date. Forza Horizon came out November 5th.
Yeah.
And we were told that it was too close to the cutoff.
Yeah.
But
that's bullshit because look,
God of War came out November 9th and got nominated for 20 awards. So that's when people start putting the tinfoil hats on and start wondering what exactly is going on when they see stuff like that.
There's favoritism. It's disputable.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know. Like, I look at something like Tunic. I thought, it's funny. A guy DM'd me on Twitter saying, what do you think's going to get nominated? And I got 4 out of 5 right. The one I got wrong was Stray. I thought Tunic would be the indie that would get nominated because you know how there's always a token indie.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I call it. I call it the token indie. There's
I
always
thought
4
maybe
big
Cult
games.
of the Lamb.
Yes, some people thought Cult of the Lamb as well. I thought it would be Tunic because Tunic is effectively Zelda.
Yeah.
But indie Zelda.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, well, and it's, I think it's actually my game of the year. It's an incredible game. So
I haven't played it yet. I need to get on it.
Oh, it's funny. Like I feel for the team. I mean, I was going to say guy that made it because it did start as one guy and I think they grew a little bit.
Yeah.
They started Tunic a long, long time ago.
Mm.
I remember playing a version of it in 2018 at PAX Australia.
Yeah.
So I think it started like a year or two before that.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, Nintendo released Legend of Zelda. Was it A Link to the Past remastered?
Yep.
It was A Link to the Past, wasn't it? Which was effectively...
Not A Link to the Past.
What was it? What was the Switch one?
Oh, shit. It was not A Link to the Past.
It's killing me.
Super Nintendo now. It was the Game Boy one.
Yes. What was it called?
Keep going. I'll look it up.
But Nintendo released that, which effectively cut his lunch because it was just official version of what Tunic is.
Yeah.
So I really feel for that guy because Tunic's but like as a massive Zelda fan, Tunic was something I was looking forward to for the longest time. And
Link's Awakening, by the way.
Oh, Link's Awakening. I don't know why I said Link to the Past.
Yeah.
So Nintendo announced and released Link's Awakening, which was effectively almost exactly the same thing as Tunic, but Tunic is just much more hardcore.
Yeah.
And far more old school.
I've seen a lot of footage of it. It looks fantastic.
It is. It's hard. It is very, very hard, make no mistake.
Mm.
But it's I just love how old it feels. Like there's no hand holding. It takes me back to when I was a kid, and you've got to find pages of a manual, which looks like the manuals we used to get when we used to buy games.
Yeah.
And a lot of the clues are in that manual.
Damn.
I thought that was going to get nominated for sure because Tunic was an incredible game.
Oh, bloody hell. We're going to move on because we've already wasted 20 minutes in the bloody first
That's
segment.
what happens when I'm on podcast. That's exactly what happens. That's why ours goes for so long all the time.
The next one comes by way of Cass Marshall over at Polygon, who says, Twitter's new wave of blue checks is sowing chaos. We were just talking about Twitter before we started recording as well, so this is going to be interesting for sure. On Tuesday, Twitter Blue account started to go live. Twitter Blue is the new platform. Is the platform's new subscription service, which costs $7.99 a month month US and grants users fewer advertisements and the distinctive blue check mark on their account. The check mark used to be a sign that the account's owner was who they said they were. Now it's pretty much verified, and now it's purchasable. It's a purchasable status symbol. However, that's there's a discrepancy there. Basically, you can check whether or not it's a verified account or if it's Twitter Blue.
If it's a Twitter
account.
Blue, yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, I had Twitter Blue on the official account. I've had that for like ages now. And then all of a sudden, I woke up and I had a check mark on. I was like,
yeah.
What am I going to do? Complain? So no. So it's now gotten to the point where, and I've got this open up on the screen for everybody here. You got a Rockstar Games fake account that announced GTA 6 release date. PC Gamer fake account that says that they tweeted a fake Valve software account. Basically, I think it was the Ricochet Neon Prime. Yeah. So there was that.
A friend of mine actually. A friend of mine changed his account to pretend to be Tobey Maguire and announced Spider-Man 4.
Right.
And that got like 160,000 likes.
Did he get suspended?
But what? No. But what always confused me was you can't change your handle when you're verified.
Yep.
So I never understood how that worked where people were getting confused, because I'm like, that just works under the assumption that people are stupid and don't look at the actual handle of the account before assuming it's the real thing. I just always found that odd, but maybe that's just me being naive and assuming that people would look a little bit deeper than the surface.
So a little bit of inside baseball. Nick knows my mum personally, and mum, right, comes to me all the time. Daniel, Chris Hemsworth has followed me. I have a look. No, it's not Chris Hemsworth, Mum. Please, because it'll be like a Facebook page, a fake Facebook page without the check mark or anything. But she'll believe it, and that's the thing, because it'll say Chris Hemsworth, but somebody will like swap a letter around, and we'll have an all caps thing and use a small I instead of a normal.
They disguise an L as an I, an I as an L, and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, zero as an O. Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
And a good example I have right now up on the screen is this Nintendo of US account with Mario flipping off everybody.
Oh, that was so funny.
It just there was a lot of stuff that went on because of this whole thing, and we were discussing some of the impact that it's had. Myself and Nick, we're recording this on November 18th. It's currently 7:11 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, and Twitter is currently in meltdown mode. It may not exist tomorrow morning, and the impact of this is kind of scary. It's confronting in a way for both of us, because like Twitter is a big. This is being upfront. Twitter is a big source of traffic for both XBOXERA
and exposure.
Yeah. And it's very much in a state now where tomorrow we'll wake up and we don't know whether or not we're going to be able to sustain, like even kind of have that same traffic come through. Not because like of what we do respectively for our respective sites, but more or less because people are always looking up trends and random click, and that might not happen tomorrow. So, it's a very confronting situation right now.
It is.
Yeah. How are you feeling about this entire thing anyway?
I don't know. Like, it's weird because again, like Twitter is like, I mean, I've got my own Discord and that's fine, but that's private.
Yeah.
Twitter is pretty much the only public thing I have outside of XBOXERA's YouTube channel and the podcast.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've started a Mastodon account, but I don't feel like Mastodon's going to really gain any genuine traction.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I know it's going to be very, very weird.
Yeah.
That's all I do know.
I've started a Mastodon. I've started a co-host as well, just in case.
Yeah, me too. Just started that today as well.
Yeah, and I like co-host because it's a little more like Twitter in a way.
Yes.
Except it's a little Tumblr-ish as well. And It doesn't have a word limit, so that's what makes it Tumblr-ish. But the great thing though is that you can have multiple accounts on one account, which kind of what you can do with Twitter a little bit, but it kind of gives you a little more flexibility if you're managing business in all that. However, we're talking exposure. Neither of these websites have Twitter exposure. No. And today they both went into freaking like I had trouble getting into either of them. They were going into meltdown. So if Twitter disappears tomorrow, it's almost like shit. Where do we go? Like, do we go to co-host? Do we go to Mastodon? Do we go to Facebook?
I know. And that's the other problem. It's not like everyone has just agreed this is where we're going to go.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, hold on. So here's my co-host. Here's my Mastodon. Here's my Instagram. Here's like, it's not like there's this one place everyone has agreed they're going to migrate to if Twitter goes.
It's not MySpace
so that makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, that's the thing. No one in our sphere is going to go Facebook.
No.
Some are going Instagram, but like most of the people that are on Twitter aren't really interested in posting photos and videos. They just want to post text. They just want to post their thoughts. They just want to post jokes. They just want to post. They don't want to post videos. So Instagram's not really a realistic option.
Do you think Instagram could actually inherit a text-based feed?
If Facebook are smart, I reckon that's what they'd need to do. They need. I wonder if they'll pivot Instagram and have an option on Instagram where you just post text. And then maybe you can colorize it and make it pretty, like because it's Instagram.
Yeah,
but it's ultimately just your thoughts in text form.
Yeah,
prettied up. I wonder if Instagram would do that.
Do you think it also kind of stifles the Facebook market in a way, because you have Facebook as a platform and then Facebook owns Instagram? Do you think that they would be like, well, why would we do that when we have Facebook for people to post text and photos on? Why wouldn't we want to invite them back here? Why are we trying to push them to Instagram? You know?
Because I feel like Instagram in its format and its structure is closer to Twitter than Facebook is.
Yeah, I agree.
And in the end, Facebook is still the place for your mum and your ya or your nonna or whatever to post photos and check out the kids. And that's still, that stigma will forever be attached to Facebook, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
Instagram, I feel, is the better analog for Twitter.
Yep.
So I think if Meta are smart, they'll quickly try and find a way to pivot to take all those Twitter users that need somewhere to go.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's the same handle system. It's the same
hashtag system.
Hashtag system, same everything.
Yeah, the hashtag system on Instagram is huge. And I mean by like you pop in like random hashtags that are associated with the photo that you're posting, you can get up to like 100,000 likes on a photo out of nowhere. It's just how it is. Yes, sure, about 50% of them will be bots, but the thing is, right, is that that'll push your photo to the top of the feed. People will see that, hey, that's exposure. So
yeah.
You know, who knows? They
I never
might
thought about that. That's actually a good point. The Instagram thing.
Yeah.
Pivot Instagram to take all those Twitter users. I'd probably do Instagram if Instagram did a text thing that made it easy to just post text like Twitter.
Yeah.
I reckon they'd take a lot of that market. A lot of it.
Who knows? I think they might be looking into it as we speak, to be honest. So
they'd be silly not to.
Yeah, of course not. The next one comes by way of Liam Croft over at Push Square, who says, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII reveals how it's more than a remaster. He says Square Enix has posted a new Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII reunion trailer that compares many of the game's updated features and visuals to the PSP Classic, revealing how it's, quote, more than a remaster, and quote, according to the trailer's name. Catch it above ahead. That's on the website. While just 63 seconds in length, the trailer has a lot to cover. Footage first touches on new song arrangements and blah, 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 blah. The reason I wanted to bring that up also is because there was another article that was attached to this, which is quite interesting. I don't really know how they're kind of getting away with what they're doing here. But once again, from Robert Ramsey over at Push Square, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is an 84K 60 frames per second on PS5, 30 frames per second on PS4. He goes on, Square Enix has published the performance specs of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, and you couldn't really ask for more, at least on the PS5. The upcoming impressively overhauled remaster will boast a native 4K resolution on Sony's current gen system, while running at a hopefully smooth 60 frames per second. Very nice, even if it is pretty much what you'd expect from a title that started its life on the PSP over 15 years ago. On PS4, however, you're going to be stuck at 30 frames per second. On the base console, that's a standard 1080p, while on PS4 Pro, you get 4K.
Yeah.
So this is what confuses me, is that we had a lot of demanding games on PS4 that did run 4K 30 frames per second. But there were also games that did do 60 frames per second. I'm not sure if they did
on the Pro.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't really recall if it was 4K necessarily. I do remember Persona 5 Royal did.
Native 4K games were fairly rare, even on the Pro. Most of it was checkerboarded, but I mean, most people can't tell the difference.
No.
But the Pro was doing a fair bit more 60 frames stuff.
Yeah.
The whole performance versus resolution mode stuff started with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X.
Yep.
So I find it funny now that the Pro's not really doing any more 60 FPS stuff.
Yeah, same. I think
part of me wonders whether that's intentional by all the developers to let's just cut off last gen.
Yeah.
Because if we keep letting the One X and the PS4 Pro do 60 FPS stuff, there's less and less reason to move on to the new consoles.
Correct.
And I feel like that's probably why Sony stopped selling the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
And Microsoft cut off last gen a while ago too.
I feel like sometimes these tactics are, especially from a third party. I don't know whether they're instructed to necessarily do this, because I mean, like, it comes out on PS5, PS4, Switch, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, and Steam, right? So those
Xbox One as well.
Yeah. So those are, I mean, pretty much like everything that comes out on. Has there ever been an exclusive for Series X? I can't think of anything
that's come out to this point. I mean, there was the Medium. The Medium did come out on Xbox One.
Yeah.
There's probably a couple of others. I know Street Fighter 6 I don't think is going to be on Xbox One, but it will be on PS4.
PS4? It will be on PS4?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think PS4 is getting Street Fighter 6, but Xbox One isn't.
Interesting. I wonder why they're still doing that exclusivity to PlayStation. It's weird.
It's on Series X. It's just not on Xbox One.
They'd have a huge market to sell to on Xbox for that.
I know. Xbox One still sold around 55 million.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, for Crisis Core, running on prior platforms, so PS4 base, running only at a 1080p 30 frames per second. I feel like 30 frames per second is obviously that aim where they've told them, look, we won't push 60 frames on last gen, but we'll make that effort to polish it for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. But at the same time, I don't know if there was a directive necessarily from higher up or from like PlayStation or Microsoft themselves to don't make it 60 frames 4K on these systems, even though honestly, from looking at the trailer and everything else, it looks like it could do it on PS4.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me.
So,
it's not the sort of thing that's ever going to be revealed publicly outside of a whistleblower saying something.
Yeah.
I don't think
Lance McDonald will be the one to actually prove that, if anything. He'll be the one, like he did with Bloodborne. You know, like base consoles, PS4 base consoles can run Bloodborne at, 1080p 60 frames. I don't know if...
So then how come it's only running at a 30 then?
You mean on You talking about like Bloodborne on a Pro or
Even on a base. Didn't you just say the base can do it at 60?
the base can do it at 60? He developed that patch to basically run Bloodborne on base console 1080p 60 frames per second. On the Pro, it runs 4K 60 frames per second.
Interesting.
So you're telling me that this game won't be capable of it, but Bloodborne is able to do it? Come on.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it?
Yeah, no,
It's always odd.
There's something screwy about that, and I personally think that they, like what you said, there is something we don't know that they do, and they're kind of like.
Are Square developing this in-house?
That is a good question. I don't.
The only
know.
reason I ask is because I look at something like Evil West. So all the performance modes and resolutions and frame rates just came out for Evil West.
Yep.
And it was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. So the Xbox One X and I think PS4 Pro can run Evil West at 4K 30.
Yep.
The PS5 and Series X can run Evil West at 4K 30.
Yep.
But as soon as you go up to 60, the Series X and PS5 are down to 1080. I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
That makes zero sense. Like, how can the One X and the Pro match the PS5 and the Series X both at 4K 30, but then as soon as you want to go up to 60, oh, well, the two new consoles got to limit them at 1080.
Correct. They do that. They do this every time, and they did it with the PS3 as well. But they don't want to admit that. Like Watch Dogs ran like ass on PS3, and they were investigated for it as well. I think Watch Dogs investigated, like not as in the Watch Dogs game. Watch Dogs actually investigated them for development and everything else. Apparently. There were some stirs of it being done on purpose or something, but Ubisoft were like quick on the heels to say, no, it was done for smoother development times and all this.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, bullshit. Because
that's why I asked about the third party thing, because I look at Evil West, which is like I think it's basically an indie developer, so maybe it's just a capability thing. I don't know, and that's why I thought maybe is Crisis Core being outsourced?
Yeah.
To a developer that's just not capable of.
Yeah, so it is being outsourced, but only for the Nintendo Switch version. Square Enix is still doing the other, like the PS4, PS5.
Interesting.
Yeah. So the Tosei, who are primarily known for like Nintendo stuff, are handling that port to Switch, but for everything else, it's Square Enix.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I mean, again, it's something that we've seen in the past. It's not a surprise in any way that they want to kind of push people to, as hardware becomes more regularly available, they want people to go out there and buy it. So
yeah.
So anyway, the next one comes from, once again, is it Push Square again? It is Push Square again. Stephen Talby over at Push Square writes, Need for Speed Unbound trophies. This is the one that you were telling me that you hate. Need for Speed Unbound trophies drive to play online if you want that platinum. This is for those trophy hunters out there. Basically, you're going to be very frustrated by this. Upcoming PS5 arcade racer, Need for Speed Unbound, is fast approaching its 2nd December release date, and we're looking forward to getting in the driver's seat. We're getting close to the game's launch day or when trophies start to appear online, and PSN Profiles is here once again with a full list of trinkets. There's a whole list of them. There aren't really any surprises to speak of. There are a handful of trophies reserved for progression through the story, as well as some for finding all the open world collectibles. Then you have some gongs for completing set numbers of small challenges like speed traps, long jumps, as well as certain scores, yada yada yada. But to achieve the platinum, apparently you will have to go online. Winning some rounds of online multiplayer, you'll need to win a playlist for each vehicle tier from B to S+. So if you do want that top trinket, you may be in for a challenge. This is, again, I can't remember what title did this last, but I do recall within the last couple of years a title doing this, and it's basically gatekeeping the platinum trophy to online. Like, it's making it a necessity for people to actually have to purchase the respective platforms' online service to basically get an achievement or a trophy.
God, you know, all these years, and I've literally never thought about that.
Yeah.
The fact that they have online achievements and trophies effectively means if you want all those achievements and trophies, you have to spend more money than what you just spent on the game. I can't believe I never actually thought about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
That makes me hate online trophies even more.
Yeah, exactly. So
I think I never thought of it because I've been paying for Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus for so long now.
You don't realize it because it's an automatic charge half the time.
That I just never thought about it that way. But I'm like, yeah, like if my kid who doesn't have Xbox Live Gold or PlayStation Plus just wants to get all the trophies because he wants to get all the trophies, he can't if he doesn't have the online service. God, yeah, that's really crap, isn't it?
It is very crap. And it's like, you know, these services aren't necessarily cheap in Australia either. I mean, we're talking like, what was it, $80 for Xbox
Minimum.
Gold at the moment? Fucking hell. Like,
both of them. PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Gold are both $80 a year minimum.
It's disgusting how expensive it is as well. I mean, what's Ultimate right now? What's it's
16 a month.
16 months. It's 120 a year, isn't it? About thereabouts. More. Shit. About 100.
More like
40, 150?
No. Keep going. It's closer to 200. It's like
holy shit.
It's closer. Well, yeah. If it's $16,
that's right. $16 per month.
Yeah, $15.95. So let's just round it up. $16 a month. So you're looking at
$192.
Yeah, almost $200.
Fuck me.
For Ultimate.
So even then, if you were to kind of consider like not having like, so this will be part of like the launch day Game Pass, obviously. And for those who were like, well, I might as well get Game Pass Ultimate, that's $200. But I mean, like, if you think about it too, $16 on top to get Game Pass. I mean, Game Pass, see, that's the thing. Like, Game Pass is a fucking amazing value. But
it's the best.
Yeah. I do, like, I keep harping on, I wish PlayStation would just bloody pull the trigger and...
They will eventually.
They will eventually. They'll have to, but it's just right now they aren't because it's just fucking... I personally blame Jim Ryan. I'm putting it out there.
Nah, see, it's funny you say that because we've spoken about this on our show and
yeah,
I feel for Jim. Like he's caught in a weird place. I'm sure he wants to do the day one thing like really? Game Pass has. I'm sure he wants to. But A, he'd be fighting with Japan.
Yeah.
B, so having a bigger install base is great. And it helps with the money hats because they don't cost as much as they do for Xbox.
Yeah.
But the disadvantage to having the bigger install base, and remember, I'm talking more PS4, Xbox One now because we don't know the gap with Series X and PS5.
Yeah.
But the disadvantage with having the big install base is, so right now, Phil can turn around and do better third-party Game Pass deals because they have the smaller install base with Xbox One and Series X versus PS4 and PS5 combined. So if you approach a developer saying, do you want to do a Game Pass launch? I'm sure part of those negotiations are, well, hold on, we're going to lose this many millions of sales if we launch on Game Pass.
Yeah.
If you go to PlayStation for a third-party game, PlayStation Plus day one launch, that number is at least double.
Yeah.
That you could lose sales. So it's going to cost Sony even more to do a third-party PlayStation Plus launch. And Sony won't want to do that. But the problem is Sony's not pumping out enough first-party games regularly enough to not have third-party support.
Yeah.
So Jim's caught it between a rock and a hard place. He probably wants to do it right now. But he can't, A, because Japan wouldn't be happy about it, and B, because he doesn't want to fork out the big bucks for third parties, because the first party, why do you think they're buying up all these studios? Because they want to pump out more games. Like, if they were just happy with their 2 or 3 games a year, the AAA, over-the-shoulder, narrative-driven games, then why are they buying all these extra studios for that are going to pump out some games as a service games that they're pivoting to now?
Correct. Yeah.
So the idea is they're buying all these smaller studios to get more games out there to support the bigger studios to get their games out faster and do the PC ports.
Yeah.
And once they have more games coming out each year, then they'll make the switch. Because they don't want to have to rely on third party like Microsoft has lately.
Do you think the Activision deal is going to go through?
I was like 99% confident before.
Yeah.
That number has probably dropped now to like 75.
You think there's going to be a tough battle ahead?
Yeah, like I still think ultimately when push comes to shove, if Microsoft wants it bad enough, they'll take it to court and they'll probably win in court.
Yeah.
Because there's no actual logical reason to block it.
No.
Yes, there's fanboy arguments. Yes, there's other concerns and monopolies of this. The only reason I think the argument against the deal falls apart is because Microsoft's not even close to being the market leader.
Right.
That's the only reason all those arguments kind of fall apart. If Microsoft was the market leader, then it would be a different ballgame.
Yeah.
But the fact that they're not, Microsoft's going to win in court. If they take it to court, they're going to win.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that eventually these regulators will probably wake up to that fact and just let it go.
Yeah.
But
I think that what we're looking at though, when it comes to like exclusivity rights and everything else in terms of video games and how Microsoft have kind of monopolized a little bit of that market because now they hold a major portion. I think Sony are sweating it in a way. They know that.
Oh, Sony are 100% sweating.
Yeah, they're sweating it because they know that like if Xbox decide tomorrow that they're going to pull exclusivity on, they're going to turn around and go, no, you know what? The next Elder Scrolls game is not coming to PlayStation because we just feel like it. That's not good.
The Bethesda stuff is all exclusive.
Yeah, it is technically. Well, yeah, it is, but they've still got like deals for. I know they got deals for whatever the fuck it was called.
What?
What's it called?
Not Starfield.
Starfield, isn't Starfield also coming up? No, it's not anymore. That's right. So they've see that's the thing. So there's an example of how they're sweating, right? Because they've pulled that from PlayStation. So when it was set to be coming to PlayStation, everything was fine. But I believe that once they did that, that's kind of when the concerns started to kind of roll a little bit. And what's funny is that
in the end, all the concerns around Call of Duty. So
yeah,
despite the myths that get perpetuated, people are still buying PlayStations because of Fortnite and Call of Duty and FIFA and
it's a multi-million-dollar franchise.
Sort of Sony and Microsoft aren't Nintendo.
No.
Only Nintendo can be Nintendo and sell 100 million units off their exclusives alone.
Yeah. That's what makes them the market leader.
Yeah, only Nintendo can do that, despite what some people will attempt to have you believe.
Yeah.
Sony knows deep down. Yes, Sony uses their God of Wars and their Uncharteds as the window dressing that gets you into the store, just like a Maya window.
Yep.
But then inside Maya is where you've got all the normal stuff that's just everyone buys, the mass market stuff. So they use the Uncharteds and the God of Wars as the window dressing to get you in the door, but then it's Call of Duty when you're in, it's Fortnite when you're in, it's FIFA when you're in, and Sony knows that. That's why the focus is on Call of Duty. Sony deep down doesn't care that the next Crash Bandicoot will probably be Xbox exclusive. Yeah, Sony doesn't care that the next Tony Hawk will probably be Xbox exclusive. The only thing Sony cares about is Call of Duty.
Because a major portion of that market is also on the PlayStation platform that produces, like, again, multi-million-dollar franchise. And there's that concern that portion, that percentage. I mean, like, admittedly, Call of Duty does well for PlayStation, but it's an Xbox game.
Yeah. What do you mean it's an Xbox game?
I'd say a majority of the market is on Xbox platforms or PC.
Nah, for Call of Duty, no.
Yeah. What,
no
you do not think it's a Call of Duty game?
An Xbox game? No.
Like, as in, like, it's popular on Xbox, more popular on Xbox than what it is on PlayStation. No. You think that it's more popular on PlayStation?
Of course it is. It would sell more on PlayStation.
I've always been under the assumption that
But that's from the previous marketing rights.
I guess.
So, yes, Call of Duty was more popular on Xbox back on the 360. Like that, and that's why there's such a power struggle with those rights, because they know how powerful they are. So Call of Duty has been associated with PlayStation for as long as they've had those rights.
Yeah.
So now going forward, the one thing that's going to disappear with this deal, so while Phil Spencer and Xbox have pledged to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation, I mean, let's not get into whether I think that's going to last forever or not.
I don't think so, but yeah.
I don't think it will either.
Yeah.
The one thing that Sony knows will go away one way or another is the marketing rights.
Yeah.
Because there ain't no way that once this deal goes through, Sony's going to get to keep, 30 days exclusive on the maps, exclusive beta access, exclusive skins, this bundle. That's all going to go away. So and that's the other things that people, I think, are forgetting about in all this. It's not just, Call of Duty could potentially be exclusive to Xbox. That would effectively be a death blow.
Yeah.
But even losing those marketing rights will hurt Sony a lot.
I agree. Yeah.
Because, like you just said, then Call of Duty does become associated with Xbox again.
Yeah.
And that's where all the association is. Because what will happen is the one thing Microsoft will most likely do on future versions going forward is now when you boot up Call of Duty, you get the Activision splash screen, Infinity Ward splash screen, Raven, all these studios. Now what you're going to get Microsoft Studios, then Activision, then so even when you play it on PlayStation, you're going to see the Xbox Game Studios splash screen at the start.
That Xbox logo is going to come up.
Correct.
Just like, and that's weird because after the Starfield saga, I guess you can put it, MLB The Show came out. And I know it's like a blip on the radar, really. But it's funny to think that right after that happened, PlayStation were willing to kind of still play fair and release MLB The Show on Xbox.
I don't think PlayStation were happy.
No, they weren't. Definitely not. No.
MLB twisted their arm and said, well, hold on a second. FIFA and Madden are getting all this money by being on everything and we're just stuck on your console.
Yeah.
How about we get a bit more money?
I'm going to read off so this one comes by way, this is the last Push Square article in this list, I swear. Sammy Barker over at Push Square. I'm just going to scroll right down. This is the software sales in Japan, and they're interesting. And the reason I bring this up is because of God of War's release, and where PlayStation 5 is sitting as well on the release list, and where Xbox as well is sitting here too. So for the software sales, from the 7th of November to the 13th, the top game in Japan was Splatoon 3.
How is it still Splatoon 3?
I have no fucking clue because that game, right, is like...
Didn't it come out like 2-3 months ago?
Yeah, like about 3 months ago, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is there, 9th of the 9th. It came out, there you go, 2.5 months ago it came out almost.
And it's still sitting at number 1 in Japan.
Jeez.
Over God of War. God of War, being at 3. And PlayStation's a Japanese platform as well. So,
but the thing is, like, the market has changed so much in Japan. Like, Japan is basically portable/mobile exclusive now.
Yeah, you got a good point.
Like, Sony and Microsoft just need to bite the bullet and go, if we actually give a rat's about Japan, we just got to get a portable console in there.
They won't ever do a Vita again. They failed.
Yeah, I know, but, like, I feel like they both... I mean, Microsoft's had the rumors for a little while now of experimenting with the portable. I think if they could manage to make a portable Series S, it would absolutely kill in Japan. But if PlayStation got themselves another Vita somehow...
It does well in Japan still, apparently.
It would, like... The only downside with the Vita is... I say downside.
It is a downside.
I know, but like a Vita would be interesting because it can't be anywhere remotely close to a PS5 in its capabilities.
Yeah.
But if you make it a PS4 portable, it means that you have to cling on to the PS4 that much longer and hold back the PS5 games for that much longer.
Yep.
So it's this awkward double-edged sword. Like, do you chase just the money and sacrifice? Because there's such an in-depth discussion to be had about this, because Sony have always been masters.
Yep.
At like, I'm trying to say this as respectfully as possible, but Sony have always been the masters of stoking the console war flames. They've always been brilliant at it, and I say that with all due respect. It's what drives such a fervent and passionate fan base that you see on Twitter and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
And part of how they cultivate that is by always being seen as being at the cutting edge.
Yep.
Best graphics, best this, best that, best. Oh my God, the DualSense makes you feel things. And the 3D audio is just so amazing. It's going to change your life.
Yeah.
And yada, yada, yada. But then with anyone who's played God of War Ragnarok, most people can still see the pull of the PS4 that it's built off.
Correct.
Sony Santa Monica has always been an incredible studio. So imagine what they could do if they could make the next God of War only for PS5. Imagine what they could do.
So I feel, so here's the thing, right, is that you're on the right path, but what I reckon personally is that if Sony was smart about it, they would be manufacturing or distributing software side of things and working with Valve and the Steam Deck, because then they wouldn't necessarily have to sell hardware again, or even consider it or risk it. In that way,
aren't most of their games Steam Deck verified?
Yeah, pretty much. Like every single Steam release from PlayStation is Steam Deck verified, right? They could gauge that market first off before they even consider saying, okay, we're going to do a Vita 2. We'll have a look at what's happening on the Steam Deck first. We'll release those games, see what the numbers are. And then if it's enough that we can make a viable market through handheld means, then possibly we'll make a PlayStation.
But the problem is Japan's not buying the Steam Deck.
Correct. And that's the other issue. So when they look at that too, the other example I was going to say, number one on that list for hardware is the Nintendo Switch still, obviously. That's not going to move. And then like next week, Pokemon's going to pretty much wipe out that software.
That's right. Anyway.
But the thing is, right, they can still look at it from the Western side of the market and say, are we going to retain it? Are we going to actually have enough in terms of profit from the Western market to actually consider this? I don't think so, but I don't think there's enough push or pull in the Western market. I think that if they were smart about it, right, like they're doing the right thing right now, at least by porting some of their older legacy or some of the best of the best PlayStation 4 games and PlayStation 5 games, but they're not the biggest, but they're the best. Well, they are the biggest, but you know what I mean. They're aged.
Yeah.
They're not going to sell anymore. So
yeah, that's right.
They want to push them on PC now. And in that regard, people can play them on PC or they can play them on their Steam Deck. And that allows them to do either or. But in the same vein of seeing how many people are playing it on specified hardware, whether it be a Steam Deck or a PC, that'll allow them to gauge if it's going to be viable. Even the same with Xbox. Like this is all for both, for PlayStation and Xbox. The Steam Deck is a great preview or great way
barometer or a measuring stick.
Correct, yeah. It's a great barometer to see whether or not it's a viable market, even though Nintendo are kind of really, really, like, you can't beat them. You can't beat them in terms of handheld in Japan. You just can't.
I think Sony could. I think if Sony got it right and did it properly, I think they could.
Yeah.
But as I was alluding to earlier, I think it causes a problem for Sony in that if they were to push a new Vita, it causes a problem for the PS5.
Yeah.
And then in turn, their image with the hardcore gamer. Because it means all these future PS5 games are going to be held back by this new Vita. Because you can't go back to the old days of developing all these separate Vita games. The Switch has changed things now. Yeah. The Switch has changed the landscape, and so has the Series S to a lesser extent.
Yeah.
The Series S and the Switch have now shown that your lesser devices can still run all the same games. So Sony can't release a Vita 2 that, like the Vita, has its own games independent to the home PlayStation.
Yeah.
So for Sony to make a Vita a new Vita that can run, or forget PS5 games, but can at least run PS4 games, it means you have to keep releasing cross-gen games.
But what would be the point?
Which hamstrings the PS5.
So, yeah, exactly. What would be the point of releasing PS4 games on a Vita 2 if, like, you have a Steam Deck with RDNA 2 hardware in it, but like an APU that's, compatible?
Because Steam Deck's not selling in Japan. And Steam Deck's just not selling much. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's not globally available. That's why.
That's part of it. But even if it was, like, if you went up to your mum tomorrow and said, "Hey, Ma, the new portable from Steam is out," your mum's going to go, "What the hell is Steam?"
That is, yeah.
But if you tell your mum the new portable from PlayStation is out, your mum's going to know what that is, isn't she?
Of course, yeah. There's that market there.
In our hardcore little bubble that a lot of the time we forget to look out of.
Yeah.
Yes, the Steam Deck is the hot new thing.
Yeah.
But outside that bubble, no one knows what the hell a Steam Deck is, and no one cares.
Yeah.
But if PlayStation announced the new portable,
that's different
then
because
it
it's got
gets
PlayStation
attention,
slapped on it.
Especially in Japan. And that's the conundrum for Sony. If then I think that if they're not gonna pursue a portable, which at the moment it looks like they're not, then their relevance in Japan is going to reduce more and more as time goes on.
Yeah, definitely.
Just in Japan.
I was going to ask you as well, and this is kind of relevant to it. Do you think now that Atlas have come and played ball with multiple platforms, Xbox is going to kind of see some sort of boost in numbers in Japan as well? Because like Atlas RPGs are quite popular in Japan, and now with like Persona. Because we were like, it was funny. We were DMing each other about a year prior at the potential of Persona 5 Royal landing on or even vanilla Persona 5 landing on Game Pass.
I was about to say, I flat out told you Persona was coming to Xbox.
Yeah, he did
at the time.
But it was one of those things now. Like, where do you think it's a little late for them to do so? I mean, I know that it's still done well in a way, but I mean, do you think it's a little late to the game? But also, do you think now that there is that potential of now, because there's no exclusivity and Atlas have kind of gone away from that, and there is that potential of Persona 6 landing on Xbox, do you think that there might be some games that may sway to Xbox in Japan, or do you think it's still pretty much a fixed market?
I think every little bit helps.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's no coincidence that the best-selling Xbox in Japan is the 360.
Yeah.
And why was that? Because it had the most Japanese RPGs on it, and it had the big-name Japanese RPGs.
The Tales series, yeah.
So, in the end, that's why Xbox understands the importance of getting those games on the platform, because it makes the platform more viable in Japan. Xbox is never going to be as big as Nintendo or Sony in Japan.
No.
And I still to this day believe the only way Xbox gains any real traction in Japan is like we were just talking about, a portable Series S. That's the only way that they gain any legitimate traction in Japan. That's just what I think. And again, when I say legitimate traction, I don't mean going from a distant third to first.
Yeah.
I mean going from a distant third to a reasonably behind third.
Yeah.
And entrenching themselves in a way where there's no risk of them leaving the Japanese market kind of thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And making decent money there. That's where I think it would help.
I think that you've hit it there, because then afterwards what would happen necessarily is they would look into that handheld market, because they know, like, Xbox aren't stupid. They would know, the only way we're really going to enter that strong gaming Japanese market right now is handheld, mobile.
That's right. And if they can't get a Series S, Japan's cellular infrastructure is probably arguably the best in the world.
Yeah.
So that what they might need to do in Japan, if they can't get a native handheld there, is maybe get a dedicated Xbox cloud streaming device, maybe. And I know you have your phone and you have your tablet with a Kishi or with a backbone.
The new Logitech thing in the jig.
Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know if Japan would care about something like that.
I don't think they do.
And I don't know if, like, how do you market it? Like, oh, buy our official phone holder thing for cloud. I think they need to release over there a dedicated piece of hardware, even if it's a cloud-based one, that they can package up and sell. And
I think they need software as well, but like
Xbox games portable.
I think the piece of software that they need, honestly, would be a Monster Hunter attached to it.
Yeah, Monster Hunter.
But they like the chances of that happening are like slim to none, only because Capcom love their PlayStation.
Well, they love Switch even more.
Well, yeah, these days, yeah, I guess so, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's the top portable platform, so of course they're going to be looking at that. The next one comes from PC Gamer. Molly Taylor over at PC Gamer says, and this is a bit of a mixed one. Saints Row developer is being shifted to Gearbox following tepid launch. Embracer Group says Gearbox, quote, has all the tools to create future successes at Volition. After a lukewarm reception to Saints Row reboot, Embracer Group has announced that it will be plucking Volition from PlayOn, formerly Koch Media, and handing it to Gearbox instead. As part of its quarterly financial report, Embracer looked back at how Saints Row performed and the future of its developer. While the parent company said that, quote, financially Saints Row has performed well in line with management expectations, and, quote, critical reception was a different story. Quote, the reception of Saints Row did not meet full expectations and left the fan base partially polarized, end quote. Embracer CEO Lars Wingfors said, quote, the game development studio Volition has been working hard to improve the player experience, end quote. And there was a patch that came out, like a fucking mammoth patch that just released this week that tried to fix a whole bunch of issues like bugs and texture pop-in and frame rate issues and all this other shit that the game had. And I reviewed it. It wasn't great. It wasn't like a gangbuster Saints Row title that we were hoping for, or even like from just the pre-release materials that were publicly readily available for everybody, even media. We knew that it was going to be a bit of a sus launch. So to see that it's getting swallowed by Gearbox as well, I don't know what the go is and why Gearbox were the first ones to be like, hey, let's pluck it from you. Very weird.
The thing is, it's all under the same umbrella. Embracer owns all of them.
Yeah.
So it is weird to, like, I don't know enough about the business side of things to know why. So if Embracer is up here, there's Gearbox, there's, they've just bought Crystal Dynamics and Eidos, and then I think they've also got THQ and all. So it's weird to see them moving stuff they already own.
Yeah.
Under other little mini umbrellas.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. Yeah, I feel like there's some weird stuff going on at Embracer because they've just announced that I think they're going to start winding down on the investments.
Yep.
Because remember, they went nuts and just started buying every small studio and a couple of small publishers out there. They've said they're now winding down on that stuff. So, yeah, there's some interesting things going on at Embracer. I've got a funny feeling that's not the last we'll hear of stuff going on there.
Yeah, definitely. I don't have this listed, but I should have. Did you read about the Mick Gordon situation over?
Yeah, we talked about it on our show. It's very, very weird.
So Bethesda also released a statement today, I believe it was, and it really now is when the Mick Gordon essay was released, and I kind of sat there and read through it, even though it took me a couple of hours to kind of gauge. Oh, it's a very long essay, and I read about what happened. Yeah, there's definitely some shifty business happening, and some bribe money trying to be pushed under the table and stuff. But then for Bethesda to publicly come out with a statement like that, I don't know. Like this now, okay,
and Bethesda said they've got receipts.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Like I've spoken to people, and I've said to them, so Mick Gordon has like this rep within the industry of actually asking for a lot of money. And I mean, rightfully so. The bloke's an amazing musician.
Yeah.
And that they've put forward, like Bethesda put forward that offer and said, okay, look, I don't think we can afford you for Eternal because you're asking for this. Like the story, I believe, when Eternal was being developed, like Bethesda came out and said that they couldn't afford the services of Mick Gordon. They just could. They flat out said, like, we can't afford him.
But then his story was saying stuff like the game wasn't ready, but they were asking him to do music for a game that effectively didn't exist. And it's, his music weaves into the gameplay. So how do you do that if there's no game and all this other stuff? And, now Bethesda puts out this statement, which gets a bit scary. Like if you're Mick Gordon on your own against the might of Bethesda, who is also behind them, Microsoft.
And Xbox, yeah.
And you've got Bethesda saying, we've got receipts. Now, there are some people that have come out and said, well, why would Mick Gordon risk his whole career on lies? Why would he do that? Especially 2 years after the fact. Like he's replied to that Reddit post 2 years later.
Yeah.
Which is very odd as well.
Yeah, it's almost like there was a non-disclosure agreement that was signed and expired.
Yeah, or something else, but I won't cast aspersions there.
Yeah.
But my thing is, people are like, well, why would he risk his reputation? Why would he risk his career? People said the same thing about the Bayonetta actress.
Yeah.
And it turned out that she was being shifty with the truth as well.
Yep.
So it's 2022. Let's not have old-time sensibilities about people's morals and about whether people would undo their careers when we've seen people end their own careers numerous times over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Big careers.
Yeah.
Kanye West.
Yeah.
So don't just assume, Mick Gordon would never ruin his own career to lie about something like this. Well, you don't know. That's what they said about the Bayonetta actress too.
Yeah.
So for Bethesda to come out and be like, we have the receipts, that's got to be fairly scary for me.
That's dangerous for him. He'd be shitting his pants.
He'd have to be a little bit. There
would be no way that Phil Spencer would be reading that going, like he would have been off his fucking, like honestly, that bloke would have been off his head saying, well, not off his head, but he would have been like angry about it. He would have been like, okay, time for an internal investigation, find out what's going on, yada, yada, Marty, and this and all that stuff. Tell me what the F was happening. And then like they would have been like, here's what we sent. Here's the receipts, yada, yada. What do you think? Okay, we'll put out a formal statement. Formal statement goes out.
That's an interesting question, isn't it?
Yeah.
That poses an interesting question. Did Bethesda do this completely independently of Microsoft, or do you reckon they got a tick of approval from Microsoft?
They would have had to get Daddy Spencer's approval.
You reckon?
There's no way. There's no way they would have been able to put out this statement without Phil Spencer giving a thumbs up.
I've got no idea.
No, obviously not.
A very interesting question as to whether they would have, because they've been under Microsoft now officially for like a year
and a half,
or so, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, about a year and a half or so. So I know Microsoft has said they're going to still allow them to operate independently to an extent.
Yeah.
But I do wonder whether a statement like that did get the tick from Microsoft before going out. And if it did, that makes it scarier again. Because
That's right.
That means Microsoft, who has the weight of everything behind them, has seen that evidence and gone, Mick's in a little bit of trouble here.
Well, look, if Spencer Spencer is a smart man. I've always said it. I kind of wish that Phil Spencer was running PlayStation because I think that he's a genius. And when I look at it and I say he would look at this situation and be like, okay, internal investigation, yada yada, put out a formal statement, but also let's reach out to Mick Gordon, and see what the go is. Let's try and resolve this. Let's make sure that everybody walks away happy from this. We don't need this to be a PR disaster for either him. We don't want him to destroy his career. If anything, we want to work with him down the line.
Yeah, that's right.
And we don't want it for us as well. Like there is no way that this would have come out and Microsoft would have sat there and ignored it and said, and Spencer would have been like, yeah, whatever, take care of it. I honestly don't think that there would have been any way Xbox could have ignored this. No way.
Yeah.
It's a lot of accusations. Even if it was before the acquisition and everything else, the fact that Xbox own Bethesda and Mick Gordon has come out and kind of, crying foul of Bethesda, it still looks bad on Xbox. Let's move on to the next one. The next one comes by way of Tom Ivan over at VGC, Video Games Chronicle, who says, the oft-delayed Dead Island 2 has
again.
Again, this game was announced, 2011?
Oh, God. When was it announced? It was forever ago.
So I'll read it quickly. First announced 2014. The zombie action RPG has suffered a series of delays and changes of developer. So we're coming up to 9 years. 9 years of this game being in quote-unquote development or even just development hell. And we're still not... This game is going to be dead on arrival. Like, don't.
Well, that's the thing. How often do games in these situations come out and, like, smash it?
Duke Nukem Forever.
Didn't smash it.
Not smash it. An example of how bad it was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like these games that are just delayed upon delayed upon delayed rarely come out and have success.
The Last Guardian.
Rarely. Well, yeah, the last... And even then, no one actually knows if that game was successsul.
No.
Yes, it came out to some critical acclaim.
Some.
But was it actually successful?
I don't know.
Sony even mentioned how many copies it sold, like they have other games?
I can't recall. That's a good question. I'll give it a quick Google. So there's a Reddit thread here that says, did The Last Guardian sell well? Not very. It started at number 4 in Japan and number 7 in the UK.
So I doubt it's relative to the PlayStation install base that it released to. I doubt it was overly successful. In the end, again, lengthy delayed games are rarely smash hits, if ever. I can't actually think of one that came out and was like hugely successful. I can't think of a single one.
Yeah,
off the top of my head, anyway.
Yeah. So the delay. So this is from the official, and we know it's official because I've clicked on the Twitter and looked at the ticket. But the official Twitter says the delay is just 12 short weeks after its suspected release date, which is now...
I love the way they used weeks to make it sound shorter than saying
3 months.
3 months.
It's 3 months. The new release date for Dead Island 2 will now be April 28th, 2023.
Because, the shortest version is to say 12 weeks.
Yeah, of course.
Then the longer version is 3 months. And then the next longest version is sometime quarter 1.
Yeah.
That's the next longest version.
Well, I mean, like, honestly, do you see it land? Honestly, do you see it landing April 28th?
Probably not.
No.
But even if it did, like, don't forget, we're talking about a sequel that's approaching a decade delayed.
Yep.
To a game that wasn't massively successful the first time around.
No.
It's not like the first Dead Island was this huge hit. Yes, it was okay.
It was great.
But okay game. I actually didn't mind it.
Mm.
But it's not like it was this massive commercial hit.
No.
So...
No, it's not like it attained any accolades of, like, best game of, this generation or game of the year, whatever.
Or best zombie game, even.
Yeah.
Like, Dead Rising has come along since, and Dying Light, and all these other ones, and Black Ops. Call of Duty has
Call
the
of
most
Duty
popular zombie
Black
thing
Ops,
going around in the world.
Yeah.
So... But at the same time, they've pumped so much time and money into this, they probably don't want to cancel it.
No, they don't, and that's what it is now. They've come too far to cancel that game.
That's right.
But do they honestly think that releasing this game is going to benefit them in any way? Like, we're at a point now where this could be one of the biggest commercial.
It's the point
flops.
of no return.
No,
that's the point of no return.
They are at a point of no return. This plays out every time. A delayed game for a near decade gets released. I think the only company that I can think of that is still running, and I put running in quotations because let's face it, Gearbox was a Gearbox. not Gearbox, fucking who was it that did Duke Nukem Forever? Fucking
Oh god, that changed hands. Gearbox, I think, was on it at one point.
Yeah.
But that just kept changing hands, Duke Nukem.
Yeah. So, when this releases, it's whoever's the development team now. I believe that it's switched a couple of times already, but whoever the development team are, it's kind of like a curse. So, just I hope for the best for them if it does, and
for
I hope
the
it's
sake
a great
of
game.
the devs,
The final article here comes by way of Sammy Barker over at Push Square, who says Spider-Man 2 will have a different Harry Osborn on PS5, but it's going to be an incredible game. Looks like Marvel Spider-Man 2 has a recast for the role of Harry Osborn, with star Scott Porter revealing he will not return for the sequel in a now-deleted tweet. Porter, also who played Heimdall to perfection in God of War Ragnarok, alluded to the fact...
I thought I recognized his voice.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there hearing Heimdall. I'm like, who is the actor that's playing Heimdall? I feel like I recognize... Because I've played Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I feel like I recognize Heimdall's voice.
Yeah.
Now I know why.
Yeah, there you go. The fact that the developer Insomniac Games had decided to go photoreal with its casting in the hotly anticipated PS5 successor, and the quote, the difference between me and Harry's ages was too much to overcome, I believe. Okay, so let's kind of roll back the clock a little bit and talk about the Peter situation. So the original actor that they had for Peter on the PS4 version of the game, the very original, I was always in the belief. I was in the belief that no, this is for Peter. So like for Peter, the original actor, I believe that he always looked too old for the role.
Sorry, I'm referring to the voice actor. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I believe you're talking about Yuri Lowenthal, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, Yuri Lowenthal can make it, like, that bloke has got range. He can sound as young as he wants, that bloke.
But he's the voice of Peter, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
He is a very, very accomplished voice actor. So they retained Yuri Lowenthal for the voice. They changed the face on Peter in
That's right, but I thought they changed the face to look more like Yuri.
No, see, that's the thing, right? Is that okay, so you might be correct in some way, but I also believe that they changed the face to look more like Tom Holland, like a dollar store Tom Holland.
No, I'm pretty sure that they changed the face on the PS4 version of Spider-Man. They changed Peter's face to look more like Yuri.
Yuri Lowenthal?
To look more, not look exactly like Yuri, but I think to look more like Yuri.
Interesting.
I believe.
So now they're kind of doing the exact same thing here, where they're swapping out the face and the role, I guess, to a different actor. Is it like I always found it a little jarring that they did it the first time around. I think it's going to be extremely jarring here, especially considering the fact that the sequel has a completely different face on him now, and it's going to remain unpatched or unreleased until, like, they possibly do a remaster once again, which would make sense, or a patch or whatever. But it just it's very jarring that they continue to do this, that Insomniac continues to swap faces of main characters. Weird.
Especially in a digital world where it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't a movie.
No.
Where Rhodes went from being, what's that actor's name? Who played Rhodey originally in Iron Man?
Oh shit!
God, I've gone completely blank on his name for some. Terrence Howard.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
We went from Terrence Howard to. Oh my God, why am I going blank on these actors' names?
I can't remember either.
Yeah, why am I going blank? But we changed actors in Iron Man, and of course that's noticeable because you're changing actors. But in a digital world, there's no need.
It's not a necessity
to do that.
No,
like, you can change the voice actor.
Yeah.
Without changing the physical appearance of the in-game character. Like,
yeah.
It's going to be weird now because if someone decides to do a back-to-back playthrough of Spider-Man and then Spider-Man 2, they're going to see two different characters in terms of Harry.
Mm-hmm.
Where I assume the Peter model will stay consistent.
Well,
I
now
assume.
they're at a point where they keep the new look. They've done it for the remaster. They've done it for the PC release.
That's right.
They've done it for Miles Morales.
That's what I mean. So they'll keep the Peter look, and to the point of patching the old PS4 game to all align. Will they do the same for Harry? Will they now go back and patch Harry in those older games?
You mean in the remasters? Or
yeah,
you think
in the well, I mean, even the PS4 base game. Because
they didn't change it in the
console.
They didn't change it on the PS4. So if you continue to play the PS4 version, it's still the old face of Peter.
Is it still the old Peter?
Yep.
That's even weirder again.
Yeah. It baffles me the fact that they needed to do it in the first place. It's not like, okay, I had that criticism again that he kind of looked older in the PS4 version. But he's supposed to be. It's supposed to be Spider-Man late into his like he's already experienced. He's not a kid.
Yeah.
But now it's almost like again this new face that they've chucked on Peter in these remasters. He looks now too young. It's like make up your mind. Set the bar where you want it for this bloke's age, because it's now confusing as to where he's supposed where in his life he is. Is he supposed to be an experienced Spider-Man, or is he supposed to be a kid?
Yeah.
So that's pretty much where it is.
I was under the impression for some reason that they even patched the original PS4 one.
No, they didn't.
I didn't realize they left it.
It was just a remaster, so you had to get the. So it's funny, you had to get the Ultimate Edition for Spider-Man Miles Morales to actually get that. Until they kind of did a separate release. And it's funny, I'm actually reviewing Miles Morales for PC as we're recording this. There'll be a review up tomorrow, cool. It's going to be weird because, again, we get kind of still frame pictures of Harry in the game as well. And it's not going to be that Harry. It's going to be a different Harry in number 2.
Yeah, it is weird, isn't it?
There's a disconnect, and it becomes jarring. It really how are you supposed to be emotionally attached to a character if they keep changing appearance?
Yeah, especially if it's across a franchise, like multiple games.
Like some people can dispute it and say, "Oh well, Kratos didn't have a beard in God of War 1." No, but he looks the same. It's not the same thing.
I was about to say he just looks older and more grizzled.
That's right.
Like an old man that's put on a little bit of weight and he's got the long beard.
Yeah.
But even then, if you separate the OG trilogy from what is probably a new trilogy, there's still consistency within each series. So
Correct.
Those hack and slash God of Wars, Kratos looks exactly the same in all 3 games.
Yep.
Then in these 2, in 2018 and Ragnarok, he looks exactly the same.
It's the same character,
Yeah, so Atreus looks the same in both.
Yeah.
Freya looks the same in both.
Yep.
There's that consistency across the characters.
Yeah.
Because if you're telling a story that has an arc and a beginning and a middle and an end, then you need that consistency.
That's right. And that's where it's now kind of jarring again, where they keep doing this. And for people, for when Miles Morales came out, I didn't play the remaster. I when PlayStation sent me the code to review Miles Morales, it was just a regular commercial commercial release code that didn't come with the remaster. So it really was like, mate, who are you talking to? Who's this bloke? I don't. Yeah. And it's like you had to understand that's Peter. It's just does not compute. So, all right,
it's a weird one, isn't it? Because even Uncharted's the same.
In what way you reckon?
As in, the consistency's there.
Yeah.
Drake looks like Drake all the way through to number 4.
Yes.
Sully looks like Sully all the way through to number 4. There's consistency with the characters across the 4 games.
Yes. And that's what helps that emotional...
Same with Last of Us.
Yeah, and that's what helps that emotional attachment too.
So, yeah, that's true. I wonder why Spider-Man's the odd one out.
It's just Insomniac playing chess or something. Who knows?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
PlayStation.
All right, Nick. Thanks to PlayStation on my end, they provided me a review copy of God of War Ragnarok. Thanks to your cousin who let you play his copy.
Yeah, that's right. Console sharing is great.
So
$125, man. It's
Yeah.
Jesus.
$125, dude. Yeah,
I know, man.
It's getting hectic.
It's full on.
But let's talk about it because it's going to be interesting coming from your perspective as, somebody who's, you're a gamer, but your preference of platform is obviously Xbox, or else, why would you run a website called XBOXERA? But
yeah, that's right.
I wanted to kind of gauge your thoughts about the game and its campaign. I think you said you've played 30 hours so far.
I'm about 30 hours in.
What have you?
I don't know if it's a spoiler saying where I'm up to. It might be.
A spoiler warning for anybody out there.
Yeah, I've been getting distracted by a lot of side missions though.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably not as far as I should be after 30 hours. I got to the Lake of the Nine.
Nice.
Then I found the Norns. I just got the spear, which is a pretty cool weapon.
Yep.
And now that I got the spear, I've now remembered all those areas back at the start of the game that had those little holes, like the little with the air coming out. And I'm like, that's where I need to use the spear.
Yes.
But the game does kind of take you back around when you get the spear. So you're already kind of back there. I actually thought that was quite cleverly done.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I was like, when I get this spear, I'm going to go all the way back to the start and get those bits with the spear.
Right.
I got the spear and found that I effectively, when I looked at the map, I was already brought back around virtually to the start.
Yeah.
So the game had already done what I wanted to do, which I actually appreciated.
Yeah.
But yeah, 30 hours in. I was talking about this on our show, believe it or not.
Of course you were.
Yeah. I'm enjoying the game because I'm a big Metroidvania fan, but I also happen to be a big God of War fan.
Yeah.
So the game is scratching that Metroidvania itch where when I'm not playing, I want to be playing to collect all the stuff that I want to collect and upgrade myself and all that sort of thing. Even after 30 hours, I'm undecided if I like it more than 2018. Like it's this weird thing where technically it is better than 2018 in most measures.
I think technically, yes.
In the way you measure what makes a good video game,
yes,
it is technically better than 2018.
Yes.
However, what bothers me is it didn't learn any of the lessons.
So this is interesting because I've heard this come from many, many people. They've said the same thing, how they've kind of stripped back a little bit of even Kratos's offense, like his arsenal. Is he weaker? Is he stronger? Like some people couldn't really kind of match it with 2018. There's like a disparity there somewhere, and I was under the assumption that what they wanted here was like an aging Kratos. This is like we're at a point where this bloke is an old man. Like he's old. That's the point. Like yes, he may be strong, but you get old, you get weaker. It doesn't matter how much of a god you are. So, like, I think that's what they were trying to do. But
I don't know. Like from that perspective, you're probably talking to the wrong guy because I'm infamous for like skipping cutscenes and not caring much about story in video games.
Right.
So that part wasn't my issue. My thing with Ragnarok is the two biggest complaints I had with God of War 2018 were the equipment upgrade system and the menu involved in that was disgusting.
Yeah.
And the game was probably longer than it needed to be, 2018.
Yes.
There was some forced grind and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Ragnarok didn't learn those lessons. So the upgrade menu system...
Oh my god, it is such a mess.
...is even worse somehow in Ragnarok. It's somehow even worse than the 2018 one.
Yeah.
And this game is even longer again than 2018. Like I find it odd. It's like, does anyone not play through this game before it goes gold to say, oh, guys, this bit with Atreus where you're riding the yak probably goes a little bit too long. It probably needed to be half that length.
Yep.
Oh, that part where we're slow walking and talking through this part, probably like it just. I feel
Cinematic
like every
moments.
sequence,
Yeah.
it's all going longer than it needs to go.
Yeah.
And you know, across Twitter, I've seen so many people complain about the Atreus Ironwood sequence.
Yep.
So many, because it just goes forever. And
Yeah.
it's in such an unnecessary way. Like, we get it. That's the land of the gods. And that girl whose name I can't pronounce properly.
Neither can I.
Her grandmother is bad. And yeah, we get the point. You don't need to take us on a 2-hour yak ride.
No.
To get to that point.
It bogs down.
And you know what, mate? You know what's unfortunate about it? I think I actually prefer Atreus' combat to Kratos'.
A lot of people have said that as well, yeah.
The actual physical combat, when you are fighting an enemy as Atreus, I think I actually prefer it to Kratos.
Yeah.
But then they undo it and make you hate him by giving him sequences that are boring.
Yeah. I think so. From what you've said, I agree completely with you. So the thing is, the game really has a pacing issue, more or less. It really kind of
yes.
I understand they want to have that, you know, real human bond, like with so they want to connect to their audience on a relatable level with Kratos in, you know, both games. Honestly, more Ragnarok than I'd say 2018. I think that, you know, Kratos starts to become a little softer in his character, in his personality in Ragnarok.
He's far less cold in this one.
Correct, yeah. And, you know, obviously I think like there are some parts in it where he even like kind of refuses to be that asshole as well. Like vocally even says it, no, I don't want to be like that anymore. But it's funny because, like you said, with Atreus, the dialogue that bogs down moments of like just kind of wanting to get that emotion, but getting it quick. Like, let us digest it quick enough so we can move on. You know, like it's just too much in one hit. Understand that, like. We don't necessarily need, you know, a back and forth for half an hour, or just a walk or, you know, on the boat or whatever. It just, there's enough to happen while events are happening around you that you could fit that dialogue in at more of an expeditious pace. Like, we don't need it to be slow all the time.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a thing that's been bogging down a lot of Sony's releases in the last few years.
Yeah.
Like Uncharted 4 had a major pacing issue. Like to the point where for me it completely ruined the game. Like and again what made it frustrating was Uncharted 4 was the one Uncharted game where they nailed every other aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Visually incredible. Gameplay was the best it had been in the series. Gunplay was the best it had been in the series. All that side of it was great. They had finally nailed all of it by the fourth game.
Yeah.
But then they completely undid it with shocking pacing. Like Uncharted 4 felt like a 100-hour game.
Yeah, it did.
I know it wasn't, but it felt like one.
It did, yeah.
Like it was just Last of Us 2 the same. The second half of The Last of Us, the second half, I just beat Last of Us last month. The second half of The Last of Us is so completely
I thought you meant part 2.
How it's paced. Yes, I meant part 2, sorry.
Yeah, part 2, yeah.
Last of Us Part 2 is, the second half of it is paced so much better than the first half.
Oh, see, I agree with you on that. And a lot of people did not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so a lot of people didn't. I don't know necessarily whether it was just Abby hate or whatever it may have been.
Maybe.
Let's just jump on that train. But for me, it was like, I actually enjoyed Abby's side a little more than what I did.
Yes,
Ellie's.
I did too. I enjoyed the Abby half more.
But the problem was, even if I did like the Abby half more, it really felt like, okay, is this the closing act? No. Is this where it ends? No.
Yeah,
Why hasn't this game fucking ended?
I know. They just... The problem is it's back to that whole PlayStation first-party games on PlayStation Plus thing.
Yeah.
Sony has dug themselves into a bit of a hole now. So Sony's first-party games are very, 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 very expensive to make.
Yes.
And generally, those games aren't the money drivers for PlayStation. Like we were talking about before. It's the third-party stuff because they sell the most on PlayStation. The first-party games are the window dressing to get you in. They don't make all the money because they cost so much to make and market.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because those games cost so much and because they're obviously now charging more for them,
yeah,
I assume Sony feels like they need to justify that price. And the way they do that is to pad out the games and make them longer. And I completely understand why, because most gamers, I'm not one of them, I love my short games. But most gamers, when they pay their 60 US, 70 US, 100 Australian, 125 Australian, they demand that it has to go for 30 hours, 40
that
hours,
experience.
50 hours, 60 hours.
Yeah.
And so these AAA studios have to they're like, my God, no, man, we've only got a story that can fill 10 hours of game. What do we do?
Bog it.
Chuck a million collectibles in and throw all these side missions in and repeat this part, but change the scene and they pad out the games artificially.
Yeah.
Where me, I would love for these games to be short, 8 to 10 hours that are punchy, paced quickly, lots of action, lots of cool sequences and all. That's what I loved about the OG God of War games. That's what they were.
Yeah.
Those OG God of War games were all action, 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 action. Yeah, you had some QTEs that made you feel cool because they were doing cool stuff. But it was just all about the action. Like, I barely remember any of the cutscenes in OG God of Wars because they didn't have that many. Where now that's the way they're doing it and the production value is so much and so expensive and it's like they need to justify that cost through artificially lengthening the games.
Yeah.
And I think the games suffer for it.
It's funny that you mention Uncharted as like one of those prime examples because I believe that Uncharted, I love Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. I think it's the best out of the series.
I like the first one the best.
You like the first one the best? Yeah. I honestly
love the first one.
The first one's amazing as well. I mean, if it wasn't for the first, obviously, I wouldn't have gotten so much into the second, invested in the second. But I believe that Uncharted 2 was really kind of the catalyst of why now we're experiencing more first party titles being cinematic adventures, like
100% it was
cinematic.
Uncharted 2.
Yeah, rather than like them being games. Even Ratchet and Clank have adopted this kind of format where where every few events we get a cinematic in between and all this stuff, and we're kind of sitting there with the controller in our hands and going, oh, all right,
we're watching movies.
Yeah. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I enjoy it sometimes, like I really do, but half the time I kind of sit there and I go, well, it could be a little shorter. It could be a little shorter. There's no reason to kind of stretch it out as much as they have. But in terms of go on.
You might be old enough to remember cutscenes in video games back in the day. They generally weren't there to deliver the story. They were usually there to link you between your levels.
Yeah.
They were there to show you, this is what happened between level 1 and this is what happened between level 2. So this is how you got to the snow level.
Yeah.
This is how you got to the desert level.
Yeah.
This is how you got to the water level.
Yeah.
That where post, like you said, Uncharted 2, it's now become, now the cutscenes are how we're going to tell most of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And while Last of Us 2 was probably the catalyst, I think... Did I say Uncharted 2 or Last of Us 2?
You said Last of Us, but anyway.
Sorry, I meant Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
While Uncharted 2 was the catalyst, I feel like The Last of Us, the first one, was when Sony was like, okay, this is the track we're staying on forever.
What was the framework?
We're not going to deviate from it.
It was the framework. Uncharted 2 remained as the framework that like pushed even The Last of Us to be what it is. And, then other studios were just borrowing that. I mean, look at when they rebooted Tomb Raider. Same formula. You look at other series as well that just started kind of adopting, numerous cutscenes within gameplay, in between. And like you said, they were bridge. Back in the day, they were just bridges in between levels. And pretty much, yeah. I mean, like, you go back, like, we're talking, like, let's go, like, if you think about it, let's go back all the way to freaking some of, like, the old Nintendo games back in the day. And, some Capcom games that, the beat 'em ups that used to have, like, little moments of just kind of slight, what's it called? Just slides and pictures.
Yeah, they were just basically slides
and words underneath that would explain the situation. That was the story, right? But you could skip it and skip it and skip it, whatever. But you get there. But it's quicker to explain. You get a lot of story back, and you're right back into the action. I'm not necessarily saying that that's how games should be now. I mean, we've come a long way, and developers work really, really hard around the clock to kind of give us these moments and those experiences. They want us to walk away with elevated sensation of just emotion and elevated emotions that kind of come out.
But we're still ultimately playing video games, though.
Yeah, of course.
That's what frustrates me. We're still, I'm not liking this direction where things are going, where they're chasing movies more than they're being video games.
Do you think that God of War did that? Ragnarok did that too much?
All of Sony's first-party games do it.
Well,
it's not just Ragnarok; they all do it. Like, I love the original. I said this on our show. I love the original God of War for its gameplay and for its spectacle, not because it was telling a cool movie story. Like, I loved the gameplay was super tight back on those original God of War games. Yeah. The gameplay was ridiculously tight, and it God of War gave you those moments during the game. So I'll never forget playing through an entire level in God of War 2, which is an indoor level. You finally get a door outside and find out that the whole time you've been on the back of a Titan.
Yeah.
The whole entire time you were on a Titan. That to me is a moment that lives with me forever, and it wasn't told in a cutscene. It was told purely through the game and the way it was designed. And only games can do that, which is why it frustrates me that Sony, who's in a unique position, Sony right now as the, I won't call them the market leader, but the mind share leader, is in a unique position to be able to take games in a unique direction that only games can go.
Yeah.
Movies are movies are movies. If I want to go watch a movie, I'll go watch a movie.
Yeah,
and they're cheaper. When I play a game, I'm looking for something that only games can give me. So only games can give me what happened in God of War 2. Only games can give me Would You Kindly in BioShock. True. Only games can do those things. So I find it frustrating when the industry leader in terms of mindshare in games has this power where anything they basically do within reason is fawned over and celebrated, and they're not using that position of power to actually do something unique in the medium.
What about, okay, so I would argue, what about Gears of War? That it does it a lot. Where
that's right. Gears of War did it before Sony was doing it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, Gears of War did it a lot, and they still do it a lot when latest releases. If anything, more and more, it becomes more cinematic. I remember the last one being just as cinematic as any of them, and
I didn't like Gears 5. I'm famous for not liking Gears 5 for that reason. It chased the Sony trend. Open world, lots of collectibles, lots of cutscenes, lots of slow walk and talk. I found Gears 5 boring as a result. It went away from what made Gears.
Yeah. So I would argue this in kind of a different argument that I've put forward to a lot of people in the past, which is there's an archaic system of running an RPG, and the way that they used to run it to prolong their campaigns because of hardware limitations, right, is like basically screen up, You got a choice of you got a screen of enemies, go for it.
Yeah.
And that's it. That pretty much was how an RPG worked. You got a map, you got a screen, go.
That's right.
These days, it's a lot more diverse in the way it's presented. Persona 5 being the prime example of it, becoming a lot more cinematic, great storytelling and everything else. I think it's the only game that I can give, I can excuse for kind of being lengthy, but also giving me content in between. It's not always cinematic. You know what I mean? Like there's gameplay there. But it's an RPG, and that's what you expect. You want it to be lofty. You want it to be bountiful. You want it to have a lot of stuff in it. I can say the same in terms of where I can kind of akin it to what they were doing, what they were doing back with old games, platforms and everything else that had cinematics in between. A good example would probably be Super Mario Galaxy, where you would, play the platformer and then like have a quick cutscene where, Mario would make some sounds and go, oh, and then they cut it off and then you keep going. Mario Odyssey did the same in a way because that's kind of what Nintendo's MO is.
But again, they were cutscenes to show you how Mario was going to the next world. That's all they were.
Yeah.
They weren't telling a story per se.
Well, Nintendo, they're notorious for the silent protagonist. And they did it again in Zelda, but the difference being in Breath of the Wild, there was actually dialogue and voice acting.
Yes, those cutscenes were more in line of we're telling the story through these cutscenes.
Yeah.
Which I skipped. So I have no idea what Breath of the Wild was about.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But even in those older games, again, like everything was about showing you how you were getting to where you were getting. The story was generally told within the game if there was a story.
Yeah.
Or you had just super short little cutscenes, damsel in distress type stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Like even Gears, like I feel like it's funny. Uncharted 2 was the moment for Uncharted, and I feel like Gears 2 was the moment for Gears. I feel like the Gears 1 cutscenes were less telling the story and again, more showing you where you were heading.
Yeah.
Where Gears 2 was where it started to get more cinematic and deliver the story through the cutscenes. Like that's when Maria died and that's when Dom had his moment and it was all in the cutscene. So if you skipped those, you didn't get any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Again, it's just...
How much of Ragnarok...
That's just a me thing.
How much of Ragnarok have you skipped though?
You can't skip Ragnarok's cutscenes.
That's right, you can't. Yeah, so that's
you can't.
You can't. You have to sit through it. Yeah,
I've been forced to just sit and watch them.
Yeah, that's right.
And part of that I understand because of the way it's shot. That whole one shot thing they do for Gears.
It's the third person, how it kind of swivels around and then straight into the gameplay.
It never cuts. God of War was famous for the first God of War 2018 was famous for the one shot method that they use. There's no cuts.
Yeah.
So I understand. Apparently, if you play through a second time or New Game Plus, does it have New Game Plus? I assume it has New Game Plus.
It does, yes, yeah.
I think on second playthrough you can skip cutscenes, which would be interesting to see in execution for a one-shot game.
I don't know why they wouldn't. Maybe that's why I've assumed that it was in the original. Because honestly, like when I reviewed it, obviously I wasn't going to skip anything, but I didn't know. I honestly, like when I've gone through it a second time and the option there was to skip it because obviously I kind of went back into it to, like when I had to refine my review, I had to look at things again. So it kind of was easy to skip. But the fact that you can't do it primarily in your primary playthrough, it's interesting that they disallow it or disable it. So yeah.
Which is weird because like Last of Us 2 lets you skip them.
But that they're different studio as well, so their vision is not the same.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, I just find that interesting.
I was going to ask you before we wrap it up, what so through the 30 hours that you have played of it though, and of the story and the gameplay, would you say that like it kind of has met your expectation? Has it disappointed you in terms of it?
No,
way
it's what I expected. Yeah. It is what I expected. Like, I know there was a lot of talk and people were sort of hanging a bit of crap on it saying, oh, it looks like DLC for God of War 2018. And I mean, I feel like that's the nature of games these days. Iterative sequels are iterative for a reason. They're built off the same game.
Correct.
generally the same engine, and they're only, especially when it's if it's such a big franchise, the bigger the franchise, the safer the sequel's going to be.
Yeah.
It's just a fact of life.
That's right.
Gears 2 looks like Gears 1, and Gears 3 looks like Gears 2.
Yep.
And then Gears 4 only looks like Gears 3, but on better hardware, and same with Gears 5. But if you looked at Gears 1 and looked at Gears 5, you're not going to notice a massive difference.
Correct, yeah.
Because it's such a big franchise, they're going to play it safe.
Yeah.
So if you had told me that God of War Ragnarok started life as an expansion for 2018, I would have believed you.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm in the same boat.
If you told me that's how it started its life, and then a quarter of the way through, they're like, "No, I think we can flesh this out and really make it its own game," which then became Ragnarok, I would 100% believe you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm in the same.
100%.
I'm in the same boat as you. Yeah. I mean, like, they're not going to change that. They're not going to rapidly change that formula because, like, a lot of people that have played God of War 2018, which was a commercial success for Sony Santa Monica, massive. So they're not going to really change that formula because then people will be like, well, what the fuck? Why change something
That's what I'm
that
saying.
we love?
The bigger the franchise, the safer they're going to be with the sequel.
Yeah, correct.
They're only going to take those risks with the smaller stuff that might, like, that. I mean, that's why God of War changed to begin with.
Yeah.
Because Ascension, like, God of War was waning and Ascension didn't do much, so they knew they needed to change it up.
Yeah.
That's why we got such a radical shift from the hack and slash God of Wars to this, or part of the reason why.
Yeah.
The next God of War, if there is going to be another God of War, won't be hugely different again.
No.
The only difference you're going to see in the next God of War will be technical stuff because it'll be PS5 only.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see better graphics, faster load times,
Yeah.
no more load masking sequences
It'll
like
be on the
walking
PS5
around the
Pro.
tree, waiting for a white door to appear in a tree.
Yeah.
You're not going to have that sort of stuff because it's now built off the PS5.
Yeah. Yeah. Very weird that loading, like that cloak that basically they pull up, to skip worlds and everything. And it was obviously just a fancy loading screen.
That's right. It's a fancy loading screen.
But yeah, I mean, it's odd to see it in,
Because it's still a PS4 game, though.
Yeah, exactly.
It's still ultimately a PS4 game that's been updated for the PS5.
Yeah, exactly. So they can't really change that framework. They can't change that because it's too it's too much to change just because of...
Because, the PS4 wouldn't be able to handle it. The
Correct,
PS4 needs you crawling through a wall. The PS4 needs to be walking around the tree waiting for the door to appear, which means the PS5 needs it.
Definitely am curious as to the load times on the PS4, that's for sure.
Oh my God, I wouldn't even want to know about it because those white doors in the tree don't appear that quickly even on PS5. Like, I was expecting them to appear borderline
almost immediately.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Thinking, on PS5, they'll just appear pretty much straight away. Nah, man, some of them still took a while to appear. Now, I don't know if that was because they wanted to have Kratos having the conversation with the characters while you waited.
Yeah.
Or if it was an actual required load. But I would expect the next God of War won't have them at all.
Did your PS4 Pro sound like a jet engine?
See, isn't that funny? Mine wasn't that bad.
Really?
I've seen all the videos that people post, and I've seen all that stuff where the PS4 Pros, and even the PS4s, especially now with Ragnarok, are like loud as mine. Actually, I must have been super lucky.
See, you know what it is as well. I've noticed because your PS3, your Slim, that thing is looking clean. Like so I'm not saying that I don't clean my consoles regularly.
My silver one.
The PS3 Slim that you posted a photo of it the other day on Twitter.
Yes.
And I was looking at it, I'm like, shit, that thing looks clean.
I clean my consoles like
all
monthly.
the time. So that would aid your PS4 Pro. But I would do the same too. But I also had a PS4 Pro release day. So
I had the God of War one. I bought the God of War PS4 Pro.
So you had a little later.
That had the... No. Did I still buy a standard one?
Oh, you still bought a standard?
Oh, no. The God of War one might have been my first Pro. It might have been my first Pro.
So for mine, I bought mine on launch and had it right through until the PS5. So for mine, it started off quiet. By the end of it, I couldn't hear over my TV. So I can only imagine.
Really?
Yeah, it was that loud, dude. I can only imagine that there are people out there playing Ragnarok right now on those things, and they wouldn't be able to hear shit.
Yeah. The only consoles I've ever owned that were like legitimately loud, as in distractingly so,
Yeah.
were the Dreamcast
Yes.
and the Wii U.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And the Wii U. The Wii U is very loud.
Very loud.
Like,
disc spinning inside of it makes the,
oh my
the whole
God,
thing
and the
rattle.
fans and the Dreamcast was loud as, but they're the only two consoles I can think of where I like legit remember, my God, this thing was loud.
God.
Everything else, like the Xboxes are creepily silent.
God, the Xbox. I remember when I got the One S, I was like, this thing doesn't make a sound.
As in, is it on? Like, is it working quiet? Like,
so good.
I expect, at this point, I expect to hear a little bit of noise, but the One X, I will say my
the One X as well was really, really quiet.
Well, it was at the start. So the same way you said after a while your PS4 Pro got louder, my One X got louder.
Oh, okay, there you go.
With time. And that's despite cleaning it, despite dusting it, despite all that stuff. My One X, and I had 2 or 3 different One X's because I got a launch one, then I got like a limited edition one. And all my One X's, after a certain amount of time, started to get louder. All of them.
Yeah, I never suffered that.
Yeah, I did with the One X. But my PS4 Pro, I kept seeing everyone complain about the Pro, and I'm like, man, I can hardly hear mine.
That thing got too loud, dude. Seriously. I was so happy with the infrastructure of the PS5 because I tell you what, if it was that loud, I would have been piffing it through a window. It was just.
Yeah, I mean, I hear my PS5 a little bit when it plays PS4 games.
Okay. I don't know.
Only when it plays PS4 games. And there's a little bit. It's got a little bit of.
It's got a hum
on it, but
yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of.
But so does my.
Almost like half hum, half buzz.
Yeah. But so does
not quite either.
So does my Series X as well. Like I'll leave that thing to the side and I'll hear it kind of go off if it's updating a game or installing something. But it's not like excessively loud like how the PS4 Pro was. Like I'm talking this PS4 Pro, you'd bloody have to get an air traffic controller in here and go fucking, all right, you ready for takeoff? It was bad. It was bad.
The funny thing is the Series S is even more silent than the X.
Yeah, there you go.
The Series S is off the charts. You do not know that thing is on unless you see that Xbox logo light up. That's the only way you know it's on. Unbelievable, the Series S. Shit. Unbelievable.
Well, that was our talk about God of War.
Yeah.
I want to say thanks once again to PlayStation Australia for providing a review coded my way. But yeah, make sure you guys head on over to dashgamer.com and read the full written review that is up right now. All right, guys, it is time for the drop. This week we've got a bit of a list here, Nick. There's a few games coming out for PlayStation. So I'll read off from the top here. Today's the 18th we're recording this, so I'll start from the 18th up here. So Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana for PS5. The Dark Pictures Anthology, The Devil in Me for PS4 and PS5. Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales is also out, I think technically tomorrow in Australia. They're actually holding off because of Steam release, so it'll be November 19 actually. So, but continuing November 18th, Heidelberg 1693 for PS4 and PS5. Heidelberg. Evil West for PS4 and PS5. This is November 22 now. Gungrave Gore for PS4 and PS5. Saint Kotar for PS4 and PS5. Ship of Fools for PS5. The Night Witch for PS4, PS5 on November 29th. Soccer Story for PS4 and PS5. I think that's the same developers as Golf Story as well, I believe.
I assume so, yeah.
Yeah. On the 30th, Garfield Lasagna Party, that's going to be Game of the Year for PS4 and PS5. Romancing Saga, December 1st, Romancing Saga, Minstrel Song Remaster for PS4 and PS5. Callisto Protocol, December 2nd for PS4 and PS5. Excited, yeah. December 2nd. Yep. Need for Speed Unbound for PS5. And
Can't wait for that.
yeah, same. Marvel's Midnight Suns on PS5. So that is.
Yeah, that's a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Midnight Suns. I feel like I keep forgetting that game exists.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I keep forgetting.
I think it's going to be great.
Isn't it like a card? Isn't it like a card game?
It is, yeah. Like a Gwent deal kind of thing. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. Not for me.
Yeah, me either.
Guys, if you didn't know, this has been Operation PlayStation, a bi-weekly conversational podcast where I talk with friends about PlayStation. Nick, where can the kind people follow you? If there's anywhere that they can follow you by the end of today.
Yep. Yes. Firstly, I'll apologize for hijacking the show and
who cares? It's been great.
Dragging it across too many tangents like I do on my own show.
It's been awesome.
Which you can catch at XBOXERA.com, where you can access all of our content. We have the YouTube channel for the podcast. The podcast is the main part of it.
Yep.
Where you'll see me go on even more tangents. Our show goes for like 3 hours normally or more. And I mean, I've dragged this show to 2 hours. This was only meant to be an hour show, and I've dragged it to 2.
It's been awesome.
So yeah, XBOXERA.com, news, reviews. We have a forum. We have a Game Pass app called Day One.
Nice.
We have a Halo Forge app called Forge Era. The podcast is there. It's all there.
Nice,
so
very nice.
XBOXERA.com.
You'll see a link, and actually, for those who watch this on TV, because apparently people watch this podcast on TV, a QR code below Nick right now that you can scan and head over to XBOXERA.com. For Dash Gamer as well, make sure that you hit that follow button, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can watch the VOD that on either platform. Hit subscribe, like, follow, share, all that good stuff. Give us those cheeky 5-star ratings on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Because Spotify now have a star system too. So make sure you do all that. But until then, I'll be back in another 2 weeks. Thanks once again, Nick, for joining me, man. It's been an awesome show.
It's been good.
You're always welcome to come back, dude. You know that, so doors always open, mate. But guys, until then, this operation is complete.
Dashgamer.com